J-Lo's recent performance in front of 160,000 screaming Moroccan fans has caused quite a stir in the country after local media criticized her suggestive poses and appearing on stage scantily dressed. According to prominent members of the ruling Justice and Development Party, J-Lo's performance at Mawazine Festival in Rabat was, quote, a breach of public decency. Now, Madison, when I say it caused quite a stir, I mean it. I mean, we're talking about the Minister of Communications, Mustapha Khalfi, was criticized for allowing the gig to air on public television. People were calling for him to resign. He's saying he won't resign. That was in an interview in the newspapers. I mean, people are writing about it. They're really, really pissed off. I mean, we're talking about even MPs, members of parliament, coming together and calling for emergency meetings. And they're calling that the Education, Culture, and Communications Committee of Parliament hold a meeting to discuss why the show was broadcast in the first place. I think this just kind of shows how different our societies are, even though Morocco is secular and it's, you know, it's less extreme when it comes to these kinds of things than other countries in the Middle East. But still, it shows how different we are, because J-Lo isn't exactly known for being the worst of the worst when it comes to these things. There's much worse people. For example, imagine if, I don't know, Miley Cyrus went to Morocco, you know, shaking her pale butt over there, sticking her tongue out. You wouldn't have the Minister of Communications, Mustapha Khalfi, criticizing them, because he would have had a heart attack and he would have died. So I don't know. I mean, look, J-Lo's not the worst. She's an older woman. We know she's sexy. She's still got it going on. She does move in suggestive ways and puts herself in suggestive poses. She doesn't wear a lot of clothing, but still, that's not even, you know, the most scandalous that we have. But knowing that, you have her come in there, and then you complain later. Why? Because it makes a lot of money. A lot of people enjoyed the show, and I think they knew that maybe some older people in the government might complain about it, but I'm sure they kind of said, just go on with the show. We'll take the heat after because this makes a lot of money. So, what do you think?
Well, I think that I watched her tour, and she was actually very adamant about saying that she changes her wardrobe for the countries that she goes to that are more moderately dressed. But we all also know what to expect with J-Lo. She's been around for a good minute. She has her style, she has her brand. So I think that to say that they're not expecting, obviously she has fans or she wouldn't have been performing. And so it doesn't make sense to, you know, get on her for entertaining people. We know who J-Lo is, we know her style. I just think they're making a big roar out of nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but you know, one might say, you know, you go to a different country, you should respect the different cultures, the different traditions. I completely agree. But Morocco knows very well who's coming to these shows, okay? They know who's coming. I'm sure they've seen it. 160,000 people came out to see J-Lo, so she obviously has a big fan base. Her music gets out there. So they know what they're getting themselves into. But I think they should understand, you know, that in America, what is considered a breach of public decency is much different, right? It won't get politicians in trouble, I know that for sure. It won't get a lot of people pissed off, because in America, frankly, we don't have public decency here, you know? People are drinking in the streets, they're doing things that would not ever be acceptable in a Middle Eastern country, even a secular one like Morocco. You go downtown, you see crackheads on the street twerking and doing things that I'm not gonna get into behind public places and alleyways and stuff. So it's like public decency is not an issue here at all, but I think they know that, bringing people in, so I don't know why they do that, and then knowing that they're going to get into such hot water, they still do it, and then kind of retract their statements and apologize and do all these things. We want to know what you guys have to say about all this. J-Lo in Morocco, should she have been a little more dressed, to say, maybe not shaking her butt like her greatest asset so much like that? Let us know in the comments below, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the Lib TV for more.